Hello there, friends and family of Studio 37, and welcome to this week's remote learning. Sorry I missed out on you guys last week, but I am back to talk about surrealism, specifically Salvador Dali, Frida Kahlo, and Rene Magritte. We're going to look at three vocabulary words: juxtaposition, transformation, and dislocation. Also, we're going to wrap it up by talking about contemporary artists. A contemporary artist is somebody making art right now, like yourself. Contemporary pop surrealist artist. Pop surrealism is an American adaptation of the surrealist art movement to include bright colors and imagery from popular culture. So we're going to look at contemporary pop surrealist artist Paul Fuentes, and then we're going to go ahead and make our own work of art. This week I want you to combine two objects to create your own visual pun. This is a lesson that I came up with in collaboration with Miss Dunsmore. So we will be juxtaposing two objects in order to tell a visual joke. If that seems confusing right now, don't worry. I'm sure my slideshow will clear it right up. With that being said, I'm going to send it over to my computer. Thank you for your time and attention. Three vocabulary words I want to examine by looking at surrealist artists Salvador Dali, Rene Magritte, and my favorite Frida Kahlo are transformation, when something's turning into something else, dislocation, where you place something where it does not belong, and juxtaposition, when you put two things side by side that do not belong together. Hopefully, looking at this artwork, you will have some understanding of what I'm trying to get across. Here is a painting by Salvador Dali. This is called The Three Sphinxes of Bikini. Now, Bikini Atoll is a series of islands that we use to test nuclear weapons on, so I do believe that's why the hair on the individuals is transforming into a nuclear cloud. You can also see that the tree and the neck and head all have the same shape, so it's like the head and neck of the closest figure transformed into a tree in the second figure. And also the head growing out of the ground like that would also be an example of dislocation, because that's not really how you would see somebody coming up from the ground. So this is kind of an example of transformation and dislocation. It is very surreal or dreamlike. I think you would agree on that. The next piece we have is a wonderful picture. Of a ship whose sails have transformed into butterflies. So there is a transformation. Here's another example of transformation. As you see, the pages of the book are transformed into doves as they fly out to sea. Transformation. This is an example of juxtaposition. This is called lobster telephone, and it is exactly that. You would never see a lobster on top of a telephone quite like that, but Dali made this sculpture juxtaposing the lobster and the telephone. Next piece we have is a piece by Rene Magritte. This one I think is a great example of dislocation, because where you'd expect to find a person's body, you find a cage with two doves, and one looks like he's on the outside of the cage while the other looks like he's on the inside. Such an interesting piece. The next piece is also by Magritte. This is an example of dislocation. There is absolutely no reason a train should be plowing out of the fireplace, yet there it is. This piece is at the Art Institute of Chicago. It's one that I've got to see in real life. It is a very interesting painting. Our final piece I want to look at is one by Mexican artist Frida Kahlo, and this is transformation. Here she is. She has transformed herself into a deer stabbed by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 arrows. Now, Frida Kahlo suffered from a terrible bike accident when she was a young girl, and it left her in terrible pain her whole life. She had many surgeries to try and correct it, yet she still struggled. So this, to me, is a very surreal painting of Frida expressing her suffering and pain in dealing with both the accident that she had to overcome and her tumultuous relationship with her husband, Diego Rivera. So both physical pain and heartbreak. Next, I want to look at the pop surrealist Paul Fuentes. So let's check him out. Paul Fuentes is an American pop surrealist artist. Pop surrealism is very much in line with the traditional surrealist, where it deals with very obscure and strange imagery, oftentimes very dreamlike, but a lot of times it borrows from pop in that it uses very bright, bold colors, a simple color palette, and using imagery from pop culture. So Paul Fuentes likes to use juxtaposition to create really unique and interesting artworks. And I will have a link on the website to a video he made that I think you will enjoy. So if you like the artwork we look at of his, go ahead and watch that video also. So there is Paul Fuentes, and as you can see, he's juxtaposing a cat and sushi, ice cream and a snail, an ice cream cone and an octopus, snake and a cake, and deer antlers and cherry blossoms. Quite the interesting artwork he's making with juxtaposition. Now what I want you guys to think about is how you can use juxtaposition to create your own visual pun. What is a visual pun, you might ask? Well, I will show you. We have negative space, space that is not very happy. We have a USB, bzzz, mac and cheese. As I look at my MacBook, I'm pondering that one. A butterfly as the butterflies, or an onion ring. Of course, you can borrow from these, or you can make up your own. Some of my young artists in the studio have done wonderful work. So what I want to see is one visual pun where you're combining at least two objects. I drew a corn dog myself. I imagine you can imagine what that looks like. And a solid colored background. So one visual pun by combining at least two, juxtaposing two objects, and then go ahead and color in the background so we have a nice finished piece. Thank you for your time and attention. Go ahead and check out that video by Paul Fuentes, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Have a great week, guys.